So Nancy Pelosi took some pot shots at the Justice Democrats in Congress because they're refusing to fall in line and capitulate to Trump and the GOP. So here's what she said. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Ilhan Omar, Ayanna Pressley, and Rashida Tlaib, quote, have their public whatever and their Twitter world, but they didn't have any following. They're 4 people, and that's how many votes they got. Damn. So what they're referring to is a piece of legislation where Nancy Pelosi got Mike Pence's word on some policies involving immigration. And, you know, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and Ilhan Omar and all the Justice Democrats were like, you're going to take Mike Pence's word on the issue of immigration? No. You know, let's get some tangible policies up front. You know, take his word. What are you, crazy? You must be insane. So they did not fall in line with the Democratic caucus. And that's the correct thing to do. So Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez sees this glowing New York Times profile of Nancy Pelosi, because that's what it was. And in that profile, Nancy Pelosi takes shots at the Justice Democrats. And here's what Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez says in response to that. That public whatever is called public sentiment, and wielding the power to shift it is how we actually achieve meaningful change in this country. She continues, I find it strange when members act as though social media isn't important. They set millions of dollars on fire to run TV ads so people can see their message. I haven't dialed for dollars once this year and have more time to do my actual job. Yet we'd rather campaign like it's 2008. Burn. Burn, son. So Nancy Pelosi, I mean, obviously she's substantively wrong, but apart from being substantively wrong, she's strategically dumb here. Because the reason why the Justice Democrats were even elected in the first place is because there's this perception of the old guard in the Democratic Party, the elites, the establishment, that they're corrupt and they're out of touch and they're backroom wheelers and dealers and they're protecting the status quo. And then they go on and prove it. Nancy Pelosi goes on to prove it in no uncertain terms. So, and then you're taking shots at the people who are right? Let me tell you how this comes across, Nancy. This comes across as the Morse code system taking shots at the telephone. And you're bitter and you're out of touch and you're barely hanging on to power and you're wheeling and dealing and cutting backroom deals with monsters. And then when people show up who actually want to fight, you sneer at them. Nancy Pelosi fights against the left flank of her own party way more ferociously than she ever fought against the right. So in this new day and age of politics, she's useless. She's useless. Everybody, on mainstream media, they think she's like a fire-breathing lefty. She's the Democratic leader, and she's not even for Medicare for all, something that over 70%, in some polls over 80% of her own party wants. In the country, some polls it's over 70% of the entire country wants Medicare for all. She's the leader of the Democrats, and she's not even for Medicare for all. Her great legislative accomplishment is what? Getting a Republican healthcare bill passed, Obamacare with the individual mandate system, getting that passed and getting no Republican votes in the process? That's her fucking legislative accomplishment? We had a supermajority and she couldn't even get a public option in the bill? Her and Obama and Schumer? And now you want to step to the younger generation of actual fire breathers who are fighting for the people and mock them and heap scorn on them. Why? Because they're actually popular? See, that's the thing. She's going after them for like, oh, yeah, sure, you have your like public profile and you're like famous and whatnot, but whatever. I mean, forget all that. I'm the one with the actual power. All you have is 4 votes. Except here's the thing, Nancy. In the real world, the more people you have in politics, the more power you have. So you're going after Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, and guess what? She's got an army of people who agree with her. You do not have an army of people that agree with you. You have an army of people who tolerate you and who go, ugh, here we go again, a half capitulation to the right every fucking time you make a shitty deal. The reason why, have you ever stopped to think, well, wait a second, why is it that Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Ro Khanna, Ilhan Omar, and so many of the Justice Democrats, why is it that many of them just got into Congress and they have a higher public profile than people who've been in Congress for decades? Why is that? Why do you think that is, Nancy? Maybe it's because they actually are fighting on the issues that the American people care about, and they're willing to take no shit in the process. They ain't there to make friends, Nancy. They're not there to be part of the club. They're not there to, hold the peasant hordes at bay. They're there to represent people. Unlike you. So, thank you for proving our point about you, Nancy Pelosi. You're out of touch, you're corrupt, you're elitist, and you're more than willing to cut deals with far right-wing monsters and take their word for shit than you are to work with your own left flank and get the policies implemented that your base wants implemented. Listen, strategically and substantively, she's a dinosaur and she needs to step aside. I want to see a Pramila Jayapal Speaker of the House or a Ro Khanna Speaker of the House. We can't deal with this nonsense anymore. She's acting like it's the 1980s or the 1990s, and Democrats need to triangulate away absolutely everything. Well, have you ever considered, Nancy, that maybe that's why your approval rating is less than 30%? That burns, doesn't it? Yeah, I think it does. So the reason why they're popular, the Justice Democrats, is because they actually represent the people and they're uncorrupted. Two things that are the opposite of you. By the way, I told the Justice Democrats, Nancy Pelosi is not your friend. Get it through your head. She's not your friend. She's going to work against you, and she's going to do it all the time on all of our major issues. And now, it's a little late, but they're catching on. So, you could have acted right from day one, but they didn't. But now they're learning. And now they realize that they have just as big of a fight with the corporate Democrats as they have with the Republicans. And that's saying something.